You may or may not remember a wild story from a couple of years ago when a fake high school football team played the best team in the country. The result was ugly. IMG Academy beat Bishop Sycamore High 58-0. Now there's a documentary going behind the scenes of exactly how this happened.
IMG to kick off to Bishop Sycamore.
Do you want my hands like this, like that?
Just be natural. You don't have to try.
Coach Roy Johnson told us they had a number of Division I prospects.
Too high, tip, intercepted. Thanks to the pick six. Into the end zone. He'll waltz in, and that will do it.
Do I look like a con artist?
The director of BS High, Trayvon Free, is here with me in the studio. Trayvon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You talked to a lot of people for this documentary. You talked to players and students and parents and community members. You even talked to the coach. He was a central part in all of this. How did you get him to talk to you?
Honestly, it's hard to get Roy not to talk, if you really think about it. He actually came to us after me and Martin, my co-director, Martin Desmond Rowe, saw the game like everybody else. And Martin happened to be friends with a guy who worked for Strahan's production company, Ethan Lewis. And Ethan called up Martin and was like, hey, we have the coach and he wants to talk. Like, are you guys interested in directing this movie, potentially? And so we got on the phone with Roy, and after like 5 minutes, we were like, absolutely. like, we have to do this.
He's a talker.
Yeah, very much.
So we learn a lot about the students, too, in this film, their stories and their dreams. And a lot of those cases, these were upended by the events of this team. What was it like hearing what they went through?
You know, that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, just probably in life, to sit across from these kids and hear them tell the stories of this really heartbreaking and painful experience they went through, because as directors, we also had to get them to a place where they were willing to talk about it in a vulnerable way, because they weren't initially. They were very hardened and, you know, hurt by it, and they didn't want to talk about it. Like, they wanted to, like, keep that pushed down and keep it away and try to, like, move forward. And we were asking them to go back to a time in their lives where something that was so important to them was taken away.
And does it have ripple effects to a lot of these guys now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of them found themselves in the position where, had they gone to a real school or played for a real coach in that time frame that they had to actually play football, they might have actually landed somewhere. They might not have necessarily landed at an Alabama or an LSU or somewhere like that, but they would have actually had a shot. Playing for Roy meant they had no shot. There was just no way that was going to work out for them, because there was no school, so there was no eligibility. So you were basically playing for nothing.
You talk about the school. A lot of people figured out pretty quickly that this school was a fraud, pretty quickly into that game against IMG. But also in the film, there are forged checks, assaults, and killing geese. I'm looking at it here, everything that's in it. I mean, was there anything that stood out to you and surprised you?
You know, the geese story was definitely surprising. I did not see that coming until Pahokee started telling that story. And we thought that there's no way Roy's going to admit to doing this. And as you see in the movie, he does immediately. But, I mean, it was also kind of surprising to see just how far the tentacles of his manipulation spread, because it wasn't just manipulating the kids, because a lot of people think, and I've seen people say, like, oh, well, like, the parents are dumb and to blame. Like, how could they let their kids, how could they fall for this? And when you watch the film, you get to see and hear how he lied to them too. And as a parent, you're trying to protect your child's dreams, right? But you're also trying to protect your child from danger, from predators. And so when a predator shows up who's specifically preying on your child's dream, it's even more difficult to protect them from that, because you as a parent don't want to say, hey, I know football is your dream and this is your last chance to potentially make something of it, but I don't want to let you go play for this guy.
Well, this story, it gripped the country when it came out and that game happened. And we know that officials in Ohio called for some legislative fixes to try to make sure that this doesn't happen again. The state legislature didn't do anything. Can this happen again, and what should be in place to make sure it doesn't?
This can absolutely happen again. And the reason that the state of Ohio used in not doing anything about it was because Bishop Sycamore used a religious exemption for their school, and they have no governance over the churches, right? And so what we should be doing is looking at just how far that exemption goes when it comes to damaging the lives of not just kids, but anybody.
Trayvon Free, thank you very much. The documentary is BS High. You can find it on HBO and stream it on Max.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.